when you are in the corporate or any world, the people sometimes, you need to have a translator. People don't speak the same languages. They don't come with the same background. But usually the intentions are always the same. Usually people have the right intentions, just don't know how to communicate and how to bring things together. Sometimes you similar to your job. Yeah, you are a consultant. Why you need a consultant? You need a consultant to have a fresh pair of eyes and to make people try to find common grounds and try to really to help them to understand that they are not so different. And I did it on a global scale. I did it, to try to understand people in Australia versus the people in, Cambodia, They're same people. They have the same problems. Just they have to try to find out who is on which level. Which drives me from, I was a guy from country with 3.5 million people going to China, to Bank of China, which the company has, 333 million customers. And this is a Croatian guy going to China in front of their middle management, 55 people in the room, asking me how I would do their business. How Croatia is a 3.5. We are 1% of your own company, the whole country. So, and they asked me how I could advise, and I did because I had experiences from US, so I could relate and I could tell them this is how they do, this is how the others do. So I realized that the storytelling, the experience connection, and motivation is really very much needed in today's world in management. We have this tendency that leadership is all about managing and blah blah blah, but in essence, it's just finding the right connectors and make them work. Leadership is not about you being the smartest guy in the room. No, it's actually completely opposite. It is to be the guy who brings the value so the people can be, successful.
Well, what's stopping people from doing that without a connector? Because I resonate with what you're saying, correct. You'll find two people, whether within the same team, same company, or two different companies, whether it's a client and a salesperson, whether it's two peers within the organization and they have their own conflicts. Why do you think that exists, this gap between people?
Fear. People are afraid. People are afraid that they're going to be looked, they're not going to be successful, they're not going to reach their full potential, they're not going to be understood. Fear is the biggest problem. If you see the people who are successful in life, the sports, but I will always use the sport analogy because it is the highest possible performance in life. They don't show fear. They don't show. Then even if they fail, they pick up and then move on. It is a mental thing that this is how you excel. You constantly try to push things forward. Usama, how many times you came to me with an idea and I told you no?
Correct.
Next day, that evening you would be angry at me, but next morning you would say, "Oh, Emir, I have another one." That's simply how people excel. And sometimes people are afraid of being a failure. And this is the biggest fear in our humanity, that you're going to be a failure. This is the worst thing that happened to you. But people who are successful are failing more than anybody else. So my interest is, why don't you help the people who are just a little bit of motivation? It doesn't take really an energy. It's just to understand where they're good at, enhance on that. Like you are, let me put it like this. If you are a basketball coach, you don't ask everybody to play and be Luka Doncic or Jokic, who can score, who can be the leaders. No, you play your position. You as the leader need to find out the right setup for your people and just be a leader at the right time. Both of us have been lucky to be around big leaders and who influence us like Nidal. But he always said, leaders without the title. And I truly believe in that. And but the translation, the motivation, I feel and find myself that this is where I excelled, helping others find their cause. That's what I do.
You mentioned fear of failure. Yeah. So let me go to another level. What makes people fear failure? What's about failure that makes people afraid of it?
Because today everything is, I think if you really are thinking very high level.
Yeah.
It was about position in society, and society is measured by money, and success is monetized by money. Okay, so if you have more money and if you can show it, if you have a better car, that shows your social status, and this is how the environment think you are successful. I am not necessarily a big fan of that. I truly believe that I'm a team trained. From all of my careers, it was always about a group of people. I really don't. It's like we are living in UAE. I want UAE to be successful, and if I'm a small part of the UAE success, I think I'm contributing to the best of my ability. Not everybody should be a Michael Jordan. Not everybody should be Tiger Woods, or not everybody has to be the best. And by the way, as you grow older, Sama, when you are younger, you cannot influence much. When you are older, you can.
Absolutely.
But when you are very old, you cannot really contribute that much, but you can help the younger generation to take your job like somebody helped you in your career.
Yes.
Give it back. So I personally believe that I think our social system in general, where more money means more success, is not the right merit. I think that if you think about the economies of the future, it's going to be a collective, and that is going to be a bigger meaning of success. And if you really think what all of us will have to contribute to the bigger meaning, a bigger success, is not just the GDP. It's going to be so transformative, culture-wise. People, the technology is going to allow us to really be influencing the humanity over and over again, because the modern AI and all the technologies are coming our way. This is redefining humanity, if you really think, and everybody is going to be invited to contribute. It's not going to be reserved for you or me. It's going to be reserved for everybody. And I think the people who are going to be able to elevate and help, is going to really excel, and is going to become basically a new leadership.
So actually, the people who are connecting people and helping people do things and achieve are the ones who are going to excel.
I truly believe so. I think this old style of management, where it's hierarchy, pyramid-driven, although I love pyramids, I'm a consultant background, I definitely believe that the pyramid-style management is not going to be. It's going to be more groups, it's going to be more communities, it's going to be more like just a pool of ideas. And it's not going to really be people, it's going to be a idea story, and there has to be somebody who's going to be able to find what really matters and what's not, because not everything is urgent and important.
This is a beautiful picture and beautiful future that you're drawing here. What could stop us from reaching there?
Well, here in UAE, I don't see this as a problem. I think the UAE is by far the most advanced environment, and with excellent leadership. At the end of the day, it all will come down to leadership, because leadership needs to take bold decisions, and continuously improve what they have. If you really think, every day you will have to make decisions which are impactful and which might be wrong. So you need to be very strong-minded. What you have, this country has that. If you really think about the citizens, this country is full of extraordinary potential. But I definitely believe there has to be a higher level education, really not so much focused about how to do things, but how to integrate things. Because we have tons of experts in their fields, but very deep, but horizontally, we don't train people in how to deal with others. We train them to code, but they sometimes cannot talk to the people. So it's really going to come down to people to really become deep, but also wide at the same time. And it will require citizens or people to elevate themselves and to also be a voice. There should not be followers of the future. If people are just going to wait for somebody to tell them what to do, that's not the future. So you have a leadership role, you have a role of people, of citizens, And then you have a technology role. If you really think the technology has to provide the means to do that, because with technology things are simpler. It allows you to really have an innovative culture. But then the companies also have a bigger meaning than just making profits. It is they have to prepare the technology which is going to help the humanity. But if you have these three layers, which I think in UAE, you have this leadership, you have the right leaders, you have the right citizens, you have the right partners like Microsoft or big boys who are doing the right things. I think you can be redefining, the full experience of one country and becoming a leader. And I truly believe that UAE is going to be a leader in this front everywhere in the world because of the specific of the country.
I want to go deeper a little bit because I love the layers, leadership, people, and technology providers. So, and you mentioned that, okay, so leadership, and I completely echo your sentiment when it comes to leadership, especially in this part of the world. And it's evident by the safety, it's evident by the lifestyle, it's evident, it's an enviable place to live in. Everybody wants to come and live here, and that's not something that happens by accident. So that's done and dusted. And then you mentioned technology, and we have technology here, and technology adoption here is done exactly right. But then we have the people. And people are, you mentioned too, you have the individuals and you have the organizations and teams. And then you mentioned that we have technical knowledge and we have horizontal knowledge. Horizontal knowledge is how to talk to each other, how to behave around each other, how to manage conflicts, how to manage debate and discussions. And technical knowledge is our expertise, so coding, engineering, and so on and so forth. You mentioned that we're good here, but we're not as good here. Can you expand on that?
Well, absolutely. If you read a lot. I know you are a master. But the way how we used to build factories and processes was all linear. We were creating boxes because we wanted to achieve productivity. And if you really think, even in the software world, this is how we started to build. For those my age who goes with Pascal and Basic, this is how we were building. We were building a train full of things. But and this was really important to understand your piece of, because you had to go and resolve the technical problems on a deep technical level and understanding in your own piece, because you had to go deep. But once you created your output, the other team would take it and move it forward. So it was an organization that it was driven by creating a process and building a
factory.
And it has been very successful for us.
Yes.
But if you are putting it yourself today, this is exactly the technology problem that we have today, because the data sits in silos. Data sits in the different organizations. And we are trying to resolve it with blockchain technologies, AI technologies, because we understand that we have to collect the data from all of it. But it's because of the mentality, it is siloed. And as people have been working in this for so many years, they played their role. But the modern environment is actually, paradigm is completely different. You are putting an object of your interest in the center, and you surround it with resources then helping you to achieve that.
Okay.
So the future economy is going to require a center surrounded with all the resources that works together. In the past, that was not the case. And this is why the difference is that you still need to have a technology, but you need to understand how you are interacting with others. So to give you an example, in a sports sense, when I come to the driving range, I feel like I'm shooting like there is no tomorrow. I feel like I'm really good. And then today, 15-year kid comes next to me and shoots 20 yards more than me. And I'm like, okay, now I need to talk to the lady what she did. So I'm trying to tell you, everything has a context. And that context is what people need to understand. And our education system has not been there. So I think there's coming a very much time for the companies to and it's specifically training companies, service companies, really about the services that are going to cover that gap. I'm now in TeKnowledge, and this is exactly what we believe, that this is the right case, because I definitely believe that education needs to change a little bit. It is not so much about the I have 2 daughters, as you know, and they're using what they're going to study. But, and my younger ones wants to go to psychology. And when I asked her, why you want to go to psychology, she said, I'm interested in how the technology is going to impact people and how people will react to it. She doesn't say, I want to resolve the mental problem. No, she says, I want to understand the impact on people. So her mind is a little bit different from everything what she have seen around the world. And when we were taught, we'll say, will you resolve the diseases? Not anymore. In the future, it's what is impacting you and how you're going to adjust to it, because now everything is available for you. And that technology is what changed. And I believe that this is where is going to be a next change. And I think the education system as such has to change. It's not so much about the technicalities. It's really how you're going to create a innovation culture. That's really what it is.
So I want to touch on this model that you've built and then work backwards from there to the education to reach that model, which is the circle in the middle, the core, and then everything around it. Because you started with saying that we have a factory style where silos of people, they have inputs, they process, they have outputs, which is an input to the next silo, process, output, and so on and so forth. And it's like a manufacturing belt. But then you said there's a core and everybody around it, and that core has to understand everybody around it, and every one of those is contributing. What is in the core?
So for me, it's always a customer. Okay. It is. Well, but if you are, depending where you are, if you're in government, then it's a citizen, because this is your reason for your existence. If you are, depending where you are, it is a reason for your existence. This is the person who gives you the meaning, gives you, if you really want money, defines your success. This is a core. Nothing more, nothing less. That's what is in the center. So
it starts with the purpose, agreeing. So everybody should agree on why are we doing what we're doing. So if we're for a profit organization, then obviously it's the customer. If we're a government, then it's the citizen. If it's a non-for-profit or an NGO, then it's whoever we're serving, the underprivileged, and so on and so forth. And that should be in the core.
Exactly.
Okay. How does that change the mindset of people?
Well, it is going to change the mindset of the humanity. Mm-hmm. It is much wider dialogue than just you and I sitting here. It will require, but I feel, because I'm a technologist as well, I feel that when we talk about AI, I think AI is going to change a lot of mindset, because what AI can do the analysis much better than anybody else. You and I are pretty similar in the sense that you and I love to see the data. We like to do, and we'd like to spend our time analyzing the data. We spend our time this is how we get.
That's true.
However, we can't beat the machine. I will remember, my father was a chess player, and, remember the days when Kasparov played against
Yes,
the Blue?
Of course.
So I had the privilege to play against Kasparov. And I was one of the. He has the simultane. I actually have to go and check it out. But I think I have one. But when they asked him how beat the computer, because first time he lost, he said I can't beat the processing power. I can't. I'm human. I have limitations. Machine doesn't have a limitation. And by the way, that's 1996, huh? That's not something that happened 20, 30 years before he was saying that. But I can understand the context better. So if I make him do the calculation on the fronts that are completely ridiculous because I have imagination, I can beat him. And if you are putting yourself today, if you rely on technology to give you the analytics output, because they can go deeper. They can spend time while you're sleeping, because you have to sleep. They don't need to sleep. They can give you the outputs of that. And you as a human gives the context, it gives the imagination, gives the forward-looking, everything around that. And you merge the two, you are actually going to be extremely powerful. And you're going to not spend time on the things which are not important. Because we have tendency as an industry to spend time on what we think is important and it's urgent. Because we don't have the data, because we feel it. Yeah? Now, technology is giving us not the feeling. It's giving us the analytical reasons, analytical data that we can really make decisions on the real data. And I think this is what the technology is going to bring to the whole environment, is that once we start to understand that we can really rely on technology to make the relevant decisions, actually we can start redefining the way how we operate in general everywhere. 10 years ago, if you would come to me and, you had all these sorts of ideas, if you come to me and say, social media is going to be so big, I would be like, yeah, but look at us today. Yeah, you have your own room and you have your own podcast. And I'm pretty much convinced that this is the right way. This is, just imagine how all of this will be accelerated with AI, and what will be the next generation jobs, and what will be the next. Honestly, I don't know. But I'm very excited that with the right environment, there will be some new unicorns, some new really powerful people. I truly believe that in the next 2 to 5 years, the companies excelling in training the human, enabling the people, providing the services all around technical, but also the business, also the how to conduct, are going to be the most successful companies in the history. And that's why I joined TeKnowledge, because this is exactly what we're trying to do.
But Emir, do you think that the AI boom now is very similar to the .com boom? I tell you why I'm saying this. It's because lots of companies, and I've firsthand seen companies that had products that are 5, 6, 7 years ago, never had AI in front of it. And they have the same product. Now they just added AI, and now it became either an investor magnet or a client magnet.
Like everything in life, this is a matter of a cycle, So it is, 5 years ago we thought blockchain is going to resolve everything, But blockchain was really designed to do certain thing, and we tried to extend it, but that led to the AI. AI is not a new thing. AI is here for 10 years. The only difference is that AI today became good. It took them 10 years, in the constant development to come in the into Gen AI. But this is on a public level.
Yeah.
In the enterprise level, it is still a child, because of all the problems of the factories of the past that you have to resolve first before AI can give you that elevated pitch. And even if it's resolved technically, you have a culture issue, you have a leadership issue that is killing the implementation. So what we see currently is a gap between the retail or commercial or consumer level versus the enterprises who are not able to move into that. For the first time, usually the enterprises were the ones who are driving consumer, but this time actually the technologies changed the paradigm. It's actually the consumer.
That's right.
Is actually driving the enterprise to accept, but the enterprise has such a legacy to resolve first that it's very hard for them to change that, because of all the stories all the things that we talked in before. So there will be new companies coming out. They will be having a really good chance. But also, if the enterprises are smart in addressing the AI story, they have the data that is they have the data, historical behavior about all of them. And if able to consume it in the right way, they will be even bigger that they used to be. But they have to understand the paradigm what their company is built on and question for it. And I see this is the number one challenge of the modern CEOs, because this is going so much core into your beliefs that build this company that it creates a lot of courage. It requires a ton of courage to change that. And it's really coming down to them making bold moves and giving chances maybe to the people that they would not give a chance before, because they might influence. It is it's really like this book, but just has the covers and nothing in there. It is really at that level, and that takes a lot of courage. And I think this is what you're going to see in next 2 to 5 years, is that you're going to see some companies extremely advanced. You will see some rise of some services company who is going to excel in helping those enterprises to do that, and they will become new unicorns. And I truly believe that this is the battlefield that everybody is going to jump on.
So I think the parallels between the .com and the AI is that the ones with substance, like Amazon, like the others from the .com, will survive. The rest will just die out. And it's up to the maturity and the, let's say, education of the investors and the clients to spot who has substance and real value and who is just using that as a marketing or PR way to expand their own operations. And I love how you touched on the leadership and the people and the culture, because what you described now is the difference between transactional leaders and transformative leaders. And do you think that transactional leaders who are looking more on targets and objectives and goals and measures, they are more or less than transformative leaders who think about vision and mission and people and inspiration and motivation? What do you think about that?
Well, there is no magic pen. You need to have both. Like, again, let me put the analogy to sports. If you need to have a first center on a team. You must have it, because there must be this number of people on the team. You must be in a position to survive if your biggest players injure themselves. You must have a business that is giving you a chance to survive while you are transforming yourself. So it's not one or another. It's just a matter of finding the right positions for the right people, and as you are transforming the other pieces. I personally believe there is a role for everybody. There is a role for the transformational leaders, for sure, definitely. But also there are transactional leaders who has to give you an ability to still do what you are good at while you are transforming. Because this paradigm that we're just going to go because technology is now here and we're just going to switch from the past to the future, it's a story, it's a marketing, it's not happening. This is not going to be one day. This is going so much into the core of companies that you need to train your people, that they need to transform and create a journey mapping of all of your processes, of all your data, where every day you need to go get the data, make a decision, implement, find out. It is a constant try and error, because there is no magic pen around that. There is no book that you can go now and read and say, this is how I'm going to transform and become an AI company. No, you are not going to. This is what you have to ask yourself. So that's why I believe that all of this is, compared to the biggest ones, Amazon and all the others, they are built on technology. Imagine if you put yourself 5 years from now, everybody is going to be built on technology. Everybody. There is not going to be a single company who is not going to have a technology in their core. They will not exist, because technology gives you the data, and data is what you are actually monetizing. What is going to be a differentiator is how you treat your customers, how you treat customer experience, what is your culture, your company culture, are you able to implement, and what is your resistance to fear, how you handle fear, how you're going to make bold moves and still go for it. And this is where I think financial markets and all the others are going to be very tough, because they're used to give me a plan and give me a result and give me an outcome and I will reward you. The future, that's just a pure belief. Pure belief. It is going to become like, do I trust Elon Musk or do I not? Are you a new Steve Jobs who are going to create so much followers under him and create that environment or not? It's going to come down to success is not going to be defined by money. The success is going to be defined whether people trust you. And this is going to be a fundamental core, whether you are a trustworthy person. And in our environment, this is a really tough thing to achieve.
Do you think people trust transformative leaders or transactional leaders?
People do not. It's not. Yeah, I think. 1 second.
I'll tell you why my question is like that. So I've read a news piece online about IKEA. So IKEA, they had adopted AI for their customer service center. So people, when they go to IKEA on the website or on the phone, it's actually Gen AI that responds to you in a natural language, organic way. And then they had 8,500 customer service employees. So what they did is they retrained them to become, wait for it, interior design advisors. And now they have shifted these people from being customer service center employees to being internal interior design engineers and advisors. Now, that is not something that a transactional leader would do, because to him, that's time wasted, that's budget wasted, and that's a gambling game. But a transformative leader would think about that because he knows that will drive targets. What do you think about that?
First of all, I love the story. I think this is what you're describing right now, how the companies will adjust to the new norms. Yeah, and
but that's not the norm.
I know,
like most people are laying off people. People are afraid, like you said, because AI is taking their jobs. You hear it in the news. I mean, 60 minutes the other day had a piece about how people will be laid off and everybody's just afraid. So
there will be.
Yeah.
There will be, but humanity is much more resilient than people think. People are people. Yeah, we are survivors. You know, we are the ultimate survivor. If you really think, we have extinct all other pieces, and we are going to, even if we are not going to like what AI brings to us, we are survivor. We will protect ourselves. I'm not really so much worried about people, because people, once they understand what this can bring, is actually going to create more opportunities. What people do have is innovation. But again, coming to my original point, is going to require the group of people. It's not going to be one. It's going to require multiple skills, across the different industries, across specialization as such is going to be just a entity in the bigger scheme of what the products and solutions and services are going to be to the market. So, to come into your original question, whether transactional or transformative, they will trust leaders. And, we have this tendency to over-rotate or who leader is, and they will trust the story. They will trust whether you are, the people, my experience, even in a tough situations, if you are honest, if you are genuine, and if you are even coming you show that you understand the pain of people, if you have this empathy in you, if you have really care about the people, you're going to be a transformative leader by your nature.
Agreed.
It is really a human thing, whether you are decided, today I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be transformative. Yesterday I was transactional leader. You are who you are. And if you have this core humanity concept in yourself, and on top of it, you are combined with a little bit of storytelling, a little bit of connections, a little bit of understanding how you're going to do, you're going to become a leader without really noticing that you are a transformative leader. Because this is what is you are caring about, how anything will impact your people and how you can help your people to go to the next level. That's what transformative leader is. However, transformative leader also knows at a certain point of time you need to make tough decisions to make certain things, but you're going to explain it well in advance what you're trying to do, because the good leaders are good in creating a vision, and they're good in moving the organization towards that vision. And I have been really blessed to have people around me who are able to create that vision. So you're constantly feeling that you are progressing somewhere, even if you are shrinking, but you're constantly feeling that you are moving forward because you are trying to chase something. That's what leadership is. And the difference is going to be is what the people are made of, what our leaders are made of. But this is a little bit of a conflict in the modern world, is what's important. Money, this is going to be a conflict of interests, but this is also going to be a nice playground for the companies who are just rising or being bold and without all these shackles. There will be new companies that are completely different in a different way today.
A transformative leader, like you said, is someone who adapts and adopts a mindset, a change mindset, a growth mindset that is able to continuously change and cares about people. And going back to your original point of being connector, and that's why the moment you mentioned it, I knew that, and I know you from before, and I worked with you, and you were my boss at a certain point in time, and you were a transformative leader, because you look at human beings as human beings, and you challenge, but in a way that kind of stresses people to grow. That's not something that happens by accident.
No, but it's not something that you can learn.
It's not something you can learn.
No, I don't think so. You have to look. It is an experience that matters. Well, what I mean, it's not something that you can learn from books. You need to be. Right. You need to have interest in people. You need to go and spend time with people. The reason why who you are is because you have this craziness to go and understand what is in my mind. You used to call me 7 o'clock in the morning, which before I played golf, now you can call me up, but I'll say I'm on a golf course. But you used to call me 7 a.m. and trying to pick my brain. And I always wonder, like, what the hell? 7 a.m. Have a coffee, But then this drives you, and more interesting people that you are surrounded with, more integrated you are, you're going to get influenced by the people, ideas, mindset, positions that you're going to go and test. And you are the reason where you are today because you also tested everything. You always try to test. So it is try and error. It is try and error. The modern leaders are the ones who try and fail, but fail fast, and move on and fail again, move on and fail again. Exactly like what Michael Jordan said. Michael Jordan said, I missed 163 shots for the winning, but I scored like 60 of them and I'm a hero. But I missed 2 times more. It is something that people sometimes forget is an experience what you're going to do. It's just a journey of constant trying. That's what it is. And there is no magical pen around that. It's just go and, like in Croatia, like we teach kids to swim, throw it to the sea, and if kids starts to swim and suddenly he knows how to swim. Nobody taught him. It is just an environment and position that put him into that naturally is in him to survive, and naturally is in him to try to understand others. If you have that desire, you are naturally born to be a leader. Now, everybody has to be the top leader, Steve Jobs? No, but you can be a leader on your level. And that's what you actually need. You don't need to have a top guy understanding everything. Actually, the idea of the future for me is to find those leaders on the smaller position who can make their decisions, so the boss at the top doesn't need to make calls. You don't need that. That all can be cascaded down. if the environment is the right one, if the data is the right one, if everybody has it, every small piece of organization can be a piece of the bigger story. You don't need to have one who is going to make all the shots. He tells where we're going. The rest is leaders without the titles that I genuinely, it's not the concept of today, it's a concept that we all borrowed from our bosses from the past, but it is, I really truly believe in that. And then if you have that in yourself, you're going to be successful regardless on your position. Regardless.
You keep on mentioning environment, and then the environment that empowers, environment that encourages, environment that doesn't slow down and stifles people, environment that doesn't make people afraid. Who creates this environment?
The owners. The owners. I changed recently the job, and I joined the company as I said before, TeKnowledge. It has one boss, one owner. And our discussion was 5 minutes. I asked him, where do you want to be? He says, I want to triple the business. But I want to be meaningful, and I want to transform myself to adopt to the new norms. I said, how you plan to do? He says, I want to empower you. I think the local leadership is the most important leadership because they touch the people that matters. And that's why I want you. After that, I was done. It was done. It didn't require stories. It didn't require a PowerPoint. It didn't require, he doesn't even need to convince me. He doesn't even tell me what is there. But I love the passion about it. His messages were, understand where I'm today, understand that where I need to be, and understand that I need to rely on people. These are the three messages that people need to understand. And that game over. The interview was over for me because these are the people. And when I interviewed on the level beneath him, and it was all culture. And I saw people who are smiling. I saw people who are saying, we love our people. We love what we do. We love how we train them. We love what we do in cyber. We love what we do in managed services. We love our people. I saw the culture of people. So when I draw, me, I'm a pyramid guy, but when I draw the picture for myself, I said, wow, I have a leader who sees where it goes. I have the leadership who cherish the people and focus on people, so delivers the good service. And they need me to go and help them to go to the next level because of my experience from the past. It's a match and game over, like I'm an AI. Like if I would give this inputs to the AI machine and ask AI machine, shall I take this job? It's going to be check, yes. That's how the machines today are checking.
That's true.
And if people just apply that rules of the modern world and AI world and just look for it and look for that who is driving that discussion. It always starts at the top, but it is the top who gives empowerment to the others. That's the brave part about them. And when you have that you are in a perfect place.
There's an epidemic in organizations when it comes to this type of thinking, which is the incongruence, the inconsistency between what is mentioned, what is declared, and what is lived. So, for example, you'll have managers and bosses and even corporate cultures that has all of those kind of printed signs in elevators that, work-life balance, respect for X, do this and do that. But then, and the leader will say, we respect work-life balance, but the same leader will probably call his employees on weekends after working hours. If someone is leaving on time, they'll question their loyalty. What do you think about that? Because you can say things. That's easy. Talk is easy.
Talk is easy, but like a work-life balance, yeah. And my wife always was like, I worked 24/7. I always did, and you know how my wife would characterize my bosses. If my boss would call me on Saturday or Sunday, she would not say, why the hell he's calling you? He would say, did he say I apologize for calling you. And the bosses like Nidal would always, regardless of what we have gone through, would come to me and says, I'm sorry to call over the weekend, but it's important for me. And done. It is really how you not the words are meaningful. It's how you act and how you are respectful, and whether you have the empathy or, it's okay that you call person and person says, listen, I'm busy, I'll call you back. It is fine. It is fine to say no. It is fine. But it's also fine to listen. We have this marketing material. We try to box things in, but humanity is not boxable. It is
Correct.
It is who you are. And if you are genuine, of course, there are some things that you have to maintain. There are some rules that you have to go and of course, you cannot just be a cowboy. But it all comes down to the pressures of today. It all comes down to pressure, what you are trying to accomplish. And I think that COVID, and one of the things that you learn through COVID is that the people start to respect much more their time rather than just the targets and everything. And it's much more in the modern world. It gives people much more flexibility. So what you're actually seeing right now is that COVID taught a lot of companies that they have to change themselves, because they will lose what is the most valuable in their companies. This is their people. So it's just driven from the options that the new markets are opening for the best ones that are out there. So it's just a reaction of it. And this is what the management is now fighting, so how to adjust and how to portray ourselves. But again, I think there's a new generation of leaders just being built as we talk. And those who are going to be successful as the leaders of the past are going to be the ones who is going to mentor the new ones, because the new ones thinks everything is possible, everything can be done today, nothing was working. It's not really true. There are some things that are good, there are things that can be changed. It's like everything in life. Not everything should be, it's not black or white, like if you ask my teenage daughter today, how's life? It's black and white,
Correct.
I will always say, my dear, it's okay. Don't be too happy about anything. Don't be too sad about anything. It's just experience talking out of me. So, but this is what is happening. It's just I would say the current situation that we are in.
But I have a small challenge, and this is where I challenge myself with this type of thinking. When you said about, I call, I apologize, and then I start talking. And the first thing that comes into my mind when I do it, let's say with my team or with anyone, is how do I know that their response to me is not out of the power dynamic, the fear of the boss, the fear of the losing their job, the fear of the reputation of that possibly can be attributed to me if I'm not answering my call, or if I'm not able to conform to that type of behavior. My boss can be good, can be apologetic, can be nice, but then as a boss, I will never know because of that power dynamic. As a boss, people will tend to be different around you. How would you know?
Did people call you when they are in trouble?
Okay.
If they call you when they are in trouble, that means that you are a good boss. If people don't call you when they are in trouble, that means that you are not giving their value and you are not the right boss. Okay, so everything in life goes two ways. Were you ever afraid to call me?
No.
Why? Because I would answer to you when it's important for you. Because any relationship is bi-directional. It's not I have all the answers, you go and deliver. That's not at least in my book, that's not the leadership. You have the stupidest idea there is on the living planet. I'm not going to tell you this is the stupidest idea. You know how many times I said, did you think about this, and this? Yeah? It is really, the leadership is a language. And there is a beautiful book around that. But the leadership really how you communicate and how you are giving your time to the other people as well. It is bi-directionally in the sense that you have to provide value. If you don't have a value in the new world, then your position, whether you are a manager, you have a title, this title, that, doesn't really means anything. because the value is the new monetary that this is the new money of the world. The value that you are providing for the transformation that you are doing. This is what is going to be cherished. Not whether you have a skill and MBA in this. This is not going to be. It's the value that you are providing to your people, because the only thing that is going to make you successful where you're today and the future is the people who are going to make that transformation. Nobody else. It's actually your team who is going to give it. If you don't give more to your team than that you are asking from them, then you're going to fail. And that's what I always try to do. People were afraid to call me because they were afraid that they're not spending my time. But my doors were always open. You could ask with anybody. You could be anybody in an organization. You can come to my office. I have a beautiful story from that. My father, I was a contact center director, and I became contact center director with 1,000 people at the age of 27. And I came to my father and said, Daddy, 27, you see who I am? He says, beautiful. Do you know the name of your cleaning lady? I said, what do you mean? He said, do you know the name of your cleaning lady? I said, I don't know. He said, well, you should. I said, what? Can you be happy for me? Why you are not happy for me? I said, I didn't understand. I came to the office the other day, the next day, and I saw the cleaning lady coming past. I said, please come in. And she was like, why she wants me there? Please come in. She said, should I clean something? I said, no. I want to ask you a question. And she sat down and said, can I offer you a coffee? She was really scared because this never happened to her. And I said, listen, I'm new here. Do you have any advices for me? And she says, sir, you are a smoker. And back then, in those days, you could smoke in the office. Yeah, you say you are a smoker, but your people in the contact center do not have a smoking place. So what they do, they go in a lavatory and they smoke in a lavatory, and I have to clean that after. Sir, please create them a smoking place.
Wow.
And I was like, she left, and I called PA and said, listen, we are opening the smoking place for the people right now. And immediately the server of the contact center agent was they were extremely happy. Week after, she comes in, she says, sir, there is no cafeteria where the people can, eat properly. So what they do, it's really not good. So I changed that as well. So the cleaning lady increased the satisfaction of the agents, doubled the satisfaction of the agent, just because my father told me, do you know her name? She's now not with us anymore. I love the lady, and she influenced so much about me. So you can see the cleaning lady can be 10 times stronger than whatever leader you think might be.
It's humility, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. My father, God bless his soul, but this opened my eyes. This changed, that was the biggest change in my life. I said, wow, that's her. That's not my doing. That's her being bold to tell me, when I was there, 27 years old, mountain of a man, full of energy, big boss, I'm a big boss. So, no, she was not afraid of me.
So, a leader that can create a psychological safe environment, and the way he knows or she knows that there is a psychological safe environment is by knowing if people come to him or her and actually voice problems without fear of any reprehension or any sort of putting them down. That is the measure. So if any leader, and that's for all of our listeners, if any leader doesn't have their staff coming to them and telling them their problems, does that mean that these leaders are not creating an environment where people are happy?
Absolutely. Because what the leader should do, be there when things are good. Like coaches are there when the things are good. Like you are a basketball coach and like you are Bradovic when things are fantastic, and Have you ever heard when somebody won that the coaches would say, it's my doing? What they say? What they say? They say, it's the team's doing. When the things are bad, what coaches do? Yeah. They said, my fault. I'm the one. That's what leadership is. Simple as it is. Simple as it is. That's who you are. That's why in sports the only few are successful, because this is on the highest possible level and it's constant stress. And I truly believe that the problems needs to be addressed on a daily basis. Because if you try to hide them, they will surface as problems are going to just multiply over and over again. And the worst thing is that you're going to have the wrong culture. If you have the wrong culture, you simply cannot survive. Simply cannot survive. It's all about addressing the problems when they are there. And or even if you don't, even more importantly, if you don't think it's a problem, tell person why you think it is not a problem. Because then they have to understand your way of thinking or understand the truth around that, so they can actually adjust that they don't see this as a problem. But address it now, immediately, when they come to you. And that just can come because if you are present, if you are open, if you are not afraid, if you are really not afraid. You're not afraid. These are small things. Just stop at a second and say, just take 10, 15 minutes of your calls, which are endless blah, blah. Just shorten the call from 1 hour to 30 minutes and take 30 minutes, call to your person next to you and says, how are you today? How I can help you? Just imagine, just do this.
Why don't leaders do it?
Because they are so busy. They feel they are so busy that if they lose control, everything is going to go is not going to be successful. Again, same fears, always the same fear. Am I going to be successful? Am I going to be successful? What if I fail? I have mortgages. It is always this drive that moves you forward. I'm still like this. So let's not kid ourselves. I'm busy. I'm always trying to do more. I'm always in some debates, unnecessary, necessary. I'm always like, I am who I am. But the leaders today, they're still thinking the old ways in the factory mode, the outputs, the input and output. Yeah. That is really the fundamental. They play their role. And because this is how you have control. If you have this factory, you can play like Legos, you can move things around. This is their playground. And, this just the way how we have been doing things. I have seen so many times when the output of AI would come in the projects that I have been engaged, or the output of analytics, and people would tell me, this data is showing that, but we have always been working like this. Why don't you change it? It tells you that you are doing it wrong. Why you're not changing? Why you're not addressing it? That's the way how we have been doing business. This is where we are today. We are now going to say, this is how we got there. So it's change management. That now it's the next step for all of us.
So if any of the listeners they said, or they identified, and it became into their awareness that, oops, I am that person and I need to change now. What skills do they have to acquire as a leader? So first of all, they have to. So here is let me address your question in a different way. Yeah. So there's a technical aspect, and there is a business aspect of everything you do in life, in leadership. Yeah. So we had this tendency that this was, two different traits. You had generalists in technology, you had generalists in finance, you had generalists in sales, you had generalists. Yeah. But now this is all blurring. So the skills that you actually might really need is cross experiences across different disciplines. So you need to my original point, leadership, people, and technology. First, you need to acquire the technology set. You need to understand what technology is about. Knowledge, yeah. You must know that. In today's world, if you don't know that, you are missing a point, because this is coming your way. This is going to transfer your way. So
If I would be a leader, immediately I would jump on that. And if I would be a leader, I would immediately train people beneath me on the same way of thinking, because I cannot run
the
them.
reskilling of the...
Exactly. It's a reskilling of all of it. Then the next thing that I would do, I would try to understand how and what methodology is required for me to transform.
Okay.
And this is where you come, the usual, it's not the usual project management. It's not something that you can go and say, I'm going to use waterfall or agile or DevOps. No, you have to choose what is really good for you and where you're today and how you're going to go there. You really need to create a journey map of your organization, how you're going to drive that. What is the methodology you're going to follow?
Give us an example.
So I'll give you an example. In IT, in software development, in creating mobile applications, people follow agile methodology. In sales, what they manage, how they manage transformation, how they manage funnel. They say this is an IT discussion. No, it's not. You see, the leaders of sales.
You mean they give it to IT, business analysts to create the processes?
Exactly. But it's not. In the future, leadership is a sales leader. Look, what is going to be in a center for a sales leader? It's
custom.
So he needs to understand what he needs to collect the data. So he collects data from where? From several sources. Sources is his people. Sources is social media. Sources is the sources that he needs are everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere, and he needs to use the technology that is going to drive the behavior that he's going to change in his people, so he can transform his offerings and everything around that in collaboration with others. My message here is there has to be a cross-functional methodology in a company, and the leaders who are going to be successful are going to be the leaders who have been checking the other businesses, other line of businesses, who have been trained in a way that they were jumping from one position to another. That is the best. The experience is the best teacher. How many times in our lives we said, "Oh, I can do the job, this guy's job better than he, like a million times. I'm 10 times better." How many times people said that? But you know what? When you get to his position, you're like, he was not actually that bad. You know how many times this happens? This is what, if the training will be, you just jump from one position to another, ideally from industry to industry.
Oh, wow.
Ideally, exactly. Because, look, you will find out that the people are pretty much similar in every industry. The thinking is pretty much similar. It's just the content change, but the ideas are similar.
That's not realistic, isn't it? Who can jump from banking to telecom to medical to education?
So, shall I tell you my story?
Okay.
I started as a stockbroker. I became editor-in-chief for Dow Jones Industrial. I became editor-in-chief for for Croatian Telecom on their content department. So I became a contact center manager. I became a bookmaker, a sports bookmaker. I became a contact center agent.
How transferable is that from you to someone else, or someone else? Is it luck? Is it?
It's just this constant desire to go and do something. In my former company, you know how many managers I had in 17 years? 21. You know why? Because I have been always trying to go and try to understand. I did challenge myself to go from Croatia to Dubai to learn. I didn't come here, just came for experience. It's not again, the journey is not written, and the most interesting leaders are those who has these crazy experiences that they have jumped from one to another, and they copied with pride the ideas from the other organization and successfully implemented it there. More you see, and my advice to the young listeners that are following you, what is actually important for them, they should not just look for one job. They should not just look for job in their domain. They should go and test themselves, and they should not seek titles. Titles come. The experiences is what people wants to buy. So create, as long as you are young, just go and create experiences in everything what you do. Yeah. That is going to become...
But here's a thought. You know the old saying when I think it was the CFO that told the CEO, "Oh, if we train our people, they will leave us." And the CEO said, "What if we don't train them and they stay?" So you're saying that people go from one industry to the other, from one company to the other. What happens to the company that they come and go from? I mean, this is a wasted talent, isn't it?
This is why I said at the beginning there will be a very nice layer of service companies who are going to excel. The reason why they're going to excel is that they're going to be in one company, but the experience is going to be cross industries, cross information, the ideas. You don't need to be employed in all of those companies. You can come as a consultant, like what we used to send you. We used to send you in the different industries. At the end of the day, this is what made you as well.
That's true, 100%.
So the companies who are going to be the services company are perfect to develop that experience. That's why we in TeKnowledge.
So it's better to be done by and designed by the organization, not done individually by the employee themselves.
I truly believe so.
So this is, if we go back to the age of the AI, and you mentioned something very beautiful. You said that if AI is with you, then you will go places. If you don't adopt AI, then obviously you will die. And that requires a lot of skilling and reskilling of your workforce.
Yeah.
How do you match between that and the different industries and everything that we said now? What type of reskilling are we talking about?
So let me tell you from our experience where we are today. So we are now doing an AI Academy. So we are creating, as a part of the company, we are creating the AI Academy program. And it's already built. And it has been endless debate what we need for AI Academy.
Okay.
What kind of skills, yeah?
Yeah.
And we created first technology. Then we start to say, which technology we need to train people on? So on everything? No. What comes first? Is it data or is it what, we started to understand that it is, the AI is a big word, big marketing word, but it has specific skills and traits that you need to have. Once we finished that, we said, but we cannot just have one size fits all. We have to have AI for leaders, AI for managers, AI for employees, AI for non-technical people, and business for the technical people. So we basically create, if you really think, a matrix. On one side, technology skills, business skills, and transformative skills about the methodology and what you need to, what are the things that, how you can go and do this. It's our set of recommendations. And then the roles, the leadership role, the developer role, the manager's roles, everything what you and I have been discussing for the last 1 hour. That's AI Academy for us. And then what you need to understand is when you are a leader, you come in and says, okay, let me put the same metrics in order. Same old consulting story from the past. Let me map my people against the training. Let me see where they are. On one axis, you have technical skill. On other axis, you have the business requirement. And then you map your people based on the levels where they are. And according to them, you create a training program, individual training program for them to go and meet. Because this is what I think I'm a big believer in. I'm a big believer in personalization. I'm a big believer in individual. I'm a big believer that every person, you cannot come to a person with a set of, just choose. No, you have to tweak it. You have to find it. You have to make it relevant. You need to create it really, really important for that part of their building. That's what we are trying to do. So we are trying to approach this in an individual level, and then the group level, and then the corporate level, and then the nation level. And that's what we are now doing in technologies to create that kind of training services, and also to develop the whole implementation cycle and management cycle and operation cycle and advocacy cycle on an AI to help the companies who wants to go the first step but do not have enough resources, so we can go and train them from them. So we are building the model that is going to enable them to build it on their own, or to go and literally consume it if they want, because today everything can be consumable. But one thing that we cannot do, we cannot change your culture. we cannot change your culture. We can teach you what are the things that you have to do. We can influence you, but we cannot change it. We cannot change the people culture. If the people will come and create an AI, they're going to come on a meeting and they're not going to voice their opinions, you can train them whatever you want. You can train them in everything, but if they're not going to be saying, but what about this? Then you have a challenge. If you in the things when they are so innovative, so transformative, so developer, if you don't have conflict, that means that you are not in the right place. Because there are multiple ways of doing things.
Of course.
And conflict is just a normal way.
Very interesting.
It's a normal way.
No, and this is where my classical question, that if you adapt this to a society or to an organization that has conflict avoidance as their basic cultural trait, how do we deal with that?
Well, the old way is to fire a leader. Look, It comes down to the same thing. It's a trust. You know, trust is again, I'm borrowing this from a leader that I do truly respect. But it comes down to trust, which trust drives the conflict by nature of it. Because if you trust each other, I'll tell you what I really think.
Right.
If I don't trust you, I'm just going to don't care about you.
And conceal. I will not reveal.
Nothing. Yeah. So the only thing what you need to work on really is to work on trust.
How?
So trust is a set of what you do every day. Behaviors. So simply the way how you are treating others and how you ask to be treated.
It sounds intuitive.
It is. It's just.
Then why do we have to think about it?
Because we have tendency not to, you know, when I came to Dubai, I was let me put it like this. Yeah. I was supposed to go on a stage, and I'm not you know me, I'm actually an introvert person, would you believe? You know, my psychological is an introvert person. Actually, I like my privacy. So I had to go on stage in front of 1,300 people. And I never had this experience in UAE. I'm a new leader. And I prepared every single line, I was preparing for 3 weeks, every single line to the dot. And I prepared myself. And then night before, I'm coming on the stage for a practice. And the Dal is in front of me. And I start to talk. And after 5 minutes, he says, no, rubbish. Comes in. Tells my story.
This is in the rehearsal, right?
In the rehearsal. Tells my story that I prepared for 3 weeks in 10 seconds. That makes perfect sense. You know why? Because his mind is about the messaging and simplicity. And I like Albert Einstein. If it's not easily explainable,
then you don't understand
then you not understand. And that's the number one problem that people have.
So it goes back to education and competency and your how much secure you are with what you're doing.
Comes down to education, that what we are saying is about not only about the technology skills, it's about the mental, it's about communication, it's about beliefs, it's about really about, you know, who you are, it's about the experiences that you have. It comes down to all of those. But if you have those and if you are ready to share, your organization by nature is going to be impacted by you. And higher you up in a hierarchy, the more impact you're going to have.
So here's a theory I have, and this is, you know, resonates with what you're trying to say, is that people get promoted to leadership position because of how competent they are technically.
Everybody is promoted to the level of their
capability.
No, incompetency. So just imagine.
Okay.
So as you are, if your position requires you to know certain trade, you get it, you're promoted.
Yeah.
But then you should go up. If your position requires you to be visionary and you don't have this because you are a leader of, you're supposed to lead business unit or whatever, and if you don't have
How do you measure it?
You see, this is the thing. This is why I say you are promoted to the level of your incompetency. And more you go up, your incompetencies are more connected to your soul and to who you are than more than anything. Because you're a reflection of you.
Yes.
And that's why I'm personally attracted to the leaders who are genuine in them, because this comes out of them naturally. It does. You can feel it. You feel it.
Visionaries leaders, transformative leaders.
But you feel them. You just feel them. It is not trained. It's not. And that's what I say. More you go up, more different type of skills are important for you. The first, definitely in your life, you must be technically, you must train yourself, you must get yourself to be in a position. But the next levels are always map on your ability to bring the other people next to you and make them better. The sooner you understand that if you make other people better, they will make you better. And this is better for you and for your career. So it's not just about, thinking what is good on your CV. It's how many people will be there for you when you need them, that you can actually go up.
That's against human nature of fear, competitiveness, trying to kind of shine at the expense of others. Because if you have someone next to you and then it turns out that he's smarter than you and then takes the credit from you, what happens to you?
Well, Usama, I'm 49 now, soon 50, and we're going to have a good party.
You look much older.
That's gray hair. That there are three types of people that I'm really grateful for. The ones who gave me the toughest time in my career. The guys who were really the nastiest to me.
Nastiest?
Because what I realized over the years, they were not really nasty because they didn't like me. They were nasty because they were afraid of me. They were nasty because they didn't understand me. They were nasty because, I didn't want to. I wanted their job. They were really nasty because of me.
You made them feel insecure?
I made them feel insecure.
Is it something you did or something in them?
No, it's in both.
Oh.
It's in both. When you go up, you try to protect. When you are a contender, you want to contend.
You want to shine.
Simple nature of life. Yeah. But as I grew older, I realized that hey, wait a minute. They made me better because I had to be 10 times better than them in order to be successful. So really, those fights I really thank them for because they influenced me in that way. Then I really do cherish the leaders who gave me a chance and then really make me work for that chance and always push me forward. Always, I was always feeling that I was on the edge, but when I was about to fall, a hand would grab me and bring me back. I really do cherish those leaders.
Were you lucky?
I was very lucky. I was really lucky that they were really amazing. They gave me so much problems. I hated some of them. They will know who they are. But they really made me, their interest was to make me better. That's why they put the bar so high. Nice. So high. But they helped me tremendously. And then the third group is the people that you meet over the years and that who pushes you forward. And my experience with those people is that as you move forward and if you continue to come back and continue to reflect to people that help you and respect them for what they help to you, actually they create your image. It's not your social media that creates your image. It's the people who have worked with you. It's the people who are going to say, Emir is a good guy. It's the people who are going to say, don't read everything. It's not everything black and white. People is going to say, Emir actually has a good heart. And that is going to create your image, which is, you cannot wash that, good or bad. But my experience is that if you go back to them, those people who helped you at the beginning will always tell you what you are failing as a leader. To the cleaning lady, they will tell you. If they help you at a certain point of time, they will tell you whether you got to the expectation they had for you. Go check yourself to the people that you have gone with and say, here I am today. What do you think about me? People that are sometime in your past. I have some friends in Croatia who constantly call me and tell me, look, Emir, who the hell are you? We don't know you. But the point I'm trying to say is that all three equally help me. All three groups.
What's your advice to the quote-unquote unlucky people who are working with leaders who are not as good as the ones that you had?
Again, learn. You can learn more from the bad leader than sometimes from the good leader. Because
that's easier said than done.
I know, but you have to have, look, what happens to bad leaders eventually? Do they keep a job?
Life is not fair.
Yeah, but on the long run, no. On the long run, no. It is always, bad leaders will always catch up. Look, what is a normal lifespan of a leader? 1, 2, 3, 5 years? How many leaders stayed on a position more than 10? Tell me.
Is it?
Yeah, tell me. There are not many. Either they move aside, they give, it's like the constant leaders constantly going up. My experience at least, but the things change. Things changing. And even if it's a bad leader, what you can take from the bad leader is to try to understand why he made certain decisions in the way how he made it. What you will find out that usually not only person here, it's a person above and above and above. So it's a whole structure that you have to go and do. And this is, you just try to understand what makes people act in a certain way. Try to understand where they are failing and how this is impacting you, because you will understand that the game of management is a game of interests. And more you have more interests that you have to go and manage. And it's very hard to find the balance in that rough sea. It's really hard. So it is a rocking boat. So it's not everything as it looks like. But again, the bad leaders on the long run, although they might get promoted, they might get a lot of money, but on the long run, they don't survive because the people underneath do not support them. And you need people to be successful. So it all comes down to this. Yes, people need job, but COVID taught us a lot.
Yeah.
COVID taught us a lot.
But the difference between this part of the world and other parts of the world. So I think your theory is correct almost everywhere in the world except here, simply because our livelihood, our visas, our lifestyle, mortgages, debts is linked to our jobs. And it's not as easy to move from one job to the other. And most definitely, we can't take 3 months off and go live with our parents until we find another job. And 90% of the people here are expats. So they have to bite the bullet, put their head down, and maybe give the perception of happiness to the bosses who think that, I'm a bad leader, but look, I have a double-digit growth, and therefore my ways are good. I'm going to keep on doing it. And then they'll grow and they'll keep people with them. And that's a kind of a vicious circle, perpetual vicious circle that keeps on going and going and going.
So I have advice for those kind of people.
Yeah.
Because, people have this tendency to look for a job so they can bring an offer back to the company to increase the salary.
That is a trend, yes.
Wrong.
Okay.
You need to look for a job to see what the market is currently looking for. If you're just going to go for a salary hike, you are missing the point.
Okay.
You go for a new job which is currently valuable on the market. Ask you a question. Me, with all my background, and data scientists next to me, an AI expert who have done the AI, who the company is going to likely hire? Me or that guy?
It depends.
in the modern world, I promise you, they have less money for the leaders, more money for the developers. And by the way, they cost much more than the leaders because their value today is tremendous. The question for all these people who are looking for a job and being afraid, how equipped you are for the job of the future? That is really the question.
What have you done to skill yourself?
What you have done to skill yourself. And again, to go my original point, you need to go and fight for the providers of your trainings, not who is going to just give you the technical. You need to provide yourself and equip yourself with the people who are going to teach you to do certain things transformative as well. If you are in this pool, suddenly, you are not going to be looking for a job. People will be looking for you.
That's a nice thought. So so it's clear. You have to kind of keep on working on yourself, educating yourself, skilling yourself. I read it somewhere in a book that's called a gravitational power. So the more you read, the more you educate yourself, the more you create this magnetic power that exactly what you said, people will come and look for you because this is how the world works. And if you think just by doing your job every day, then you are entitled for a raise or to even maintain your job or keep your job, then this is your fault. So what you're trying to say is, even if you're working for a bad manager or a bad leader or a bad environment, it's still your fault because you haven't skilled yourself.
I would not say fault. It's just seek for the opportunities and take the good out of it. Don't dwell on the bad things about it. Okay, so as I said, I love every fight that I had with my bosses. Every fight that I have.
But you said you were lucky. So there's a difference. I mean, because you were groomed. You see, the business world and everything that has to do with human behavior and leadership and organizations and communication and networking and everything is, like you said, it's never quantitative. It's never something that you can transfer from one person to the other. Everyone has their own experiences, have their own fears, have their own motivations, have their own... And the only thing that you have control over is yourself.
Yeah.
And if you skill yourself, then that's the only thing that will definitely, that's the constant that will make people look for you and pull you towards them.
Look, people learn in different ways. You know, early in your career, you learned from books. You read, I think you read, Alexandria Library. like really, what you read is like, okay. For the reason why I always enjoyed our discussions is because you learn from books, which you excel yourself and you train yourself with. And I always was learning from people. You know, that's how I learn.
But again, I go back to my theory that you're lucky. Yeah. That you came across people, you cross paths with people.
The opportunity makes a man.
It's like the driver of Warren Buffett. I bet that he's a millionaire because if Warren Buffett said sell, probably he'll sell. If he said buy, he'll buy. And that's the luck that he has.
Maybe he didn't want to be a millionaire. My point is it's all individual. It's all individual. And it's okay to be playing your role. There are some people that are simply okay with the roles. It's fine. It's not good or bad. You know, it's just we have this tendency, like, you know, we like to show off. It's some people simply are good for what they do and where they're doing, and it's totally fine.
As long as they're not complaining.
My advice is what you and I are talking. What we are talking is about this. We're talking about transformation, leaders, the people who goes into unknown. This comes with a set of prerequisites that you need to have. You need to have natural interest. You know, you need to be naturally interested to learn about something. This is something that it's hard that you can go and learn. What can help you, if you are not that person, is to get yourself out of the comfort zone. That can teach you a lot. When you, by the original point, when you are a baby thrown in the sea, this is when you really learn the traits. Because where do you look? Who is there? You know, this is where you really need to find out how you survive and what are the things. Then you really discover yourself.
100%.
Change, just go and try and change yourself, because this is something that is just, at the end of the journey, maybe you will hate the journey. But I promise you, at the end of the journey, when you go to the next step, say, whoa, actually, I learned something there.
Where do you see Emir in 10 years?
In retirement, playing golf.
I don't think so. Knowing you, I don't think so. I don't think he'll retire.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't think this way. Where the road takes me. Honestly, where the road takes me. There is one thing is what really excites me right now is where I'm today. The country where I'm today, the job that I'm actually operating, it's refreshing, it's operating, it's new, it's developing, it is super exciting. It's super, super exciting. And that's, I'm really happy where I'm today. 10 years, I don't know. I hope I might write some books, which I never read, so maybe I have something to say, but definitely will enjoy the moment and enjoy the ride.
So I'm really excited to your next journey, this next phase of your life, going to this new startup mentality, which is you're going through right now, and all of this new roles that you're sort of going through in TeKnowledge. And what's the one thing that excites you about this new role that you have?
Building from scratch. This company is just entering the UAE market, and you have a forward-thinking market. You have the company who understands the moment with a full of good human capital, and especially in the regions like Africa. And if you match the market, and if you match with the human capital, technology, with the human capital that everybody needs, you are a winner. And I'm there, to original point. My job is to bring those two together in a match that is going to be so strong that is never going to break. That is what my mission is here. And that's what I'm doing. And that's why I'm so excited. I see a fantastic human capital company, and I see an environment where it's transformative to the next level where nobody in the world. And I'm in the middle of that, and I love it.
And I'm excited to follow your progress and development.